Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD's Time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the launch of the first edition of the Eco Citizens Day. Joe Biden maintains the pressures the diplomatic way remains open. Welcome to our newsroom. The Ministry of Interior announces that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the date of the regional and municipal elections has been postponed to Friday, March 11, 2022. The date for filling applications is set for Saturday, February 5, 2022 at noon. The region of Tajora the White City vibrated this afternoon to the rhythms of the launch of the tournament Interlocalities, the first of its kind. This tournament, organized under the auspices of the Secretary of State for Sports by the Sports Complex of Tajora, will oppose the various localities of the region of Tajora for about a month. The synthetic stadium of the region, it is therefore the team of Randa and that of Mabla, who opened the ball in a direct elimination confrontation in a stadium full of people. The men of Omar Yusuf had, however, badly begun the meeting, perhaps overwhelmed by the pressure of the competition. The Mablawi show a very bad face to slow without movements and having a lot of waste in their game before reversing the trends in the second half and came to the end 1-0. And a team of Randa which can feed enormous regret. After the soccer match, it was time for athletics and pétanque. The best athletes proudly represented their localities. The main objective is in the line of sight through the organizations of this tournament are to animate localities and ensure the development of populations in general, to supervise young people by offering them healthy leisure activities, to make them aware of civic values, and above all to allow local clubs coaches to unearth new talents. The Secretary in charge of Sports, Hassan Mohammed Kamil, said for his part, under the initiatives taken by the Deputy Directors of Sports, Ms. Medina Timbio, concerning the organizations of the Omnisports Day for the first edition, which gathered the localities of the regions of Tajara, and Madam the directors reminds me may stay when I was a teacher to have organized the same things but for the schools which are the most remote. The initiative is commendable because Tajara has a third division team, and this third division team must find these players from Tajara, so the fact of organizing these kinds of tournament will strengthen the team of Tajara and create a craze towards the sub-localities, because we will only focus we will not only focus it on the chief town, and it is also necessary to go to the sub-localities. This morning, the People's Palace hosted a consultation meeting between the Executive Committee, members of Parliament, members of the Central Committee, and outgoing members of the communal and regional councils of the RPP, under the patronage of the party's Vice President, His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, as part of the preparation for the municipal and regional elections of Friday, March 11, 2022. During this thematic meeting, the various officials of the communal and regional councils presented a brief review of their mandate and their achievements and or difficulties encountered during their term, as well as recommendations. An ad hoc committee was set up to identify and select future candidates based on the specific criteria. The Vice President expressed his satisfaction with the debate and discussions, which were very rich and fruitful. The Secretary General of the RPP party has indicated for his part there has been a lot of progress at the regional level. They have funding, they plan their development, they organize and carry out projects. Each region has made a project. They have today not only the decentralized budget, and they will tell us each region what they have collected as local taxes and what they have done with it, but also funding that are mobilized for the project is more than 12 million euro and 2 billion Djibouti franc. The Prime Minister and Vice President of RPP Party, Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, said for his part it is a special meeting which is related to the elections which must take place soon, namely the communal and regional election. This election, he said, is all the more important than that 1 year ago the Egyptian had said to the president, let us continue together, and today that must be verified on the ground. You have to show that indeed the president heard you here. He ran for the mandate in questions. He was elected for that, but now it is around the local elected officials, and the local elected officials must be elected in the same way as the country is number one and the party is number one. The chairman of the Ports and Free Zone Authority, Abubakar Omar Hadi, received at the PICA 23 Free Zone Dr. Isa Qayad, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Somaliland, leading a strong delegation, including the Minister of Defense, Abdulqani Mahamoud. A brief presentation was made on the various port and free zone infrastructures and other projects under development in Djibouti. Discussion is also focused on the file of port expertise and possible cooperation in a key area such as trade. It should be noted that the delegations of Somaliland is on a working visit to Djibouti for a few days and has held talks with several institutions in our country. Within the framework of the project My School to Me, the first Citizens Day of the year 2022 started this Saturday, January 29, 2022, in all the schools of the capital and the regions. It mobilizes the educational community and all the actors of the educational system, students, their parents, their teachers, but also technicians, pedagogical supervisor, collaborators of the minister, and senior MENFOP staff everywhere. The same crowd, massive and enthusiastic, composed of students, teachers, parents, but also public figures and ordinary citizens who rolled up their sleeves to participate in the Eco-Citizens project, My School to Me. The project My School to Me is simply a community and eco-citizens operation of cleaning and preservation of the environment in and around the schools. The first editions date back to Saturday, December 1st, 2018, and it is with the same fervor everywhere that the national community responded to the call of the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahamoud, who instituted this day that takes place on the last Saturdays of each month. As part of the vaccination campaign and following the memorandum of the understanding signed with the authorities of the Port and Free Zone, the Ministry of Health proceeded to the vaccination against COVID-19 of the 41 member crew of the marine crew of the ship Butialo. Indeed, the objective of both institutions is to provide better health protection to all port, maritime and free zone actors in order to ensure a safe resumption of activity in good conditions. As a reminder, the epidemiological situation in our country is still stable and decreasing. However, the strengthening of borders control, the increase of vigilance, and the increase of monitoring the epidemiological control are one of the priority of the health department. The national champions of the table tennis of the Arab Cup of the 2022 bronze medal, the team of Republican Guard, Rahma Abdurrahman Hussein, accompanied by the president of the European Federation of the Table Tennis, left the international airport of Paris. The sports elites, the presence of the in charges of the various federations, associations, and these Egyptian athletes did not delay the joint training. The following patrol operation to monitor the maritime coastline. The Djibouti Coast Guard teams intercepted during the night of 28 January 2022, 3 Yemen fishing vessels engaged in illegal fishing activities in Djibouti waters of Ras Bir. Thus, 20 crew members of all Yemeni origin were intercepted during this operation. The operation took place in extreme conditions with a raw sea and the cold of the cool season. The Djibouti Coast Guard teams also had to face the resistance of the illegal fishermen who tried to flee when they were caught in the act. A very important quantity of the fish of different species required hammered sharks, swordfish, barracuda, was also seized on board the fishing boat. The investigations was entrusted to the Brigade of the Researches, Investigations and Judicial Affairs of the Coast Guard, while the fishing boats were placed in seizure pending of decision of justice. As part of the fight against smuggling in all its forms, the Customs Brigade of Ali Sabih, in collaboration with the detachment of the National Police of this city, have seized a large amount of contraband from Ethiopia. The goods consisted of expired medicines, syrup, bottles of yo-yo, go powers, multivitamin drinks, and large bags of smuggled cat. The police and customs officers who collaborate in the success of this operation have incinerated thereafter one side the entirety of the goods, says it, according to the standards procedures enforced. This quantity was destroyed on site in the presence of the head of the Ali Sabih Customs Brigade, Mr. Muhammad Mumin Hassan. For the international scene, for nearly 10 days, Anna devastated part of southern Africa from Mozambique to Madagascar via Malawi. When the sun returns, it is the despair of part of the population that appears in Tananarivo. Some residents dare to return to their neighborhood to see what remains to their homes. Some have lost everything but are trying to rebuild on the debris. I am very sad because we are working like crazy to get money and now the house is destroyed, said Numia in the front of the collapsed bricks of her old houses. How not to be the sad? We are disaster victims and we do not receive any help, no support. There is nothing. After the torrential rain of storms Anna, which surprised the countries on Monday, January 17, makeshift shelters are multiplying in 38 localities on the Big Island. Schools have been transformed into the accommodation center. In the capital, Antananarivo, the Berry Stadium was requisitioned to accommodate 20,000 victims. And to close up this edition, Joe Biden kept up the pressures to Moscow on Friday by announcing the upcoming dispatch of a limited number of troops to Eastern Europe after a day of all-out talks that left a pace open for a diplomatic settlement tensions around Ukraine. For his part, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday called on Westerners not to sow panics around the risks of a Russian invasion of his country, while Russian President Vladimir Putin and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron agreed on the needs for the de-escalation. I will send American troops to Eastern Europe and to the NATO countries soon. Not a lot, the American president announced on Friday without further details. The U.S. has already placed 8,500 soldiers on alert to reinforce NATO. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin estimates that with more than 100,000 Russian troops deployed on Ukrainian borders. Russia had amassed sufficient forces for an invasion, but he stressed that a conflict between Ukraine and Russia was not inevitable. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.
Une première à Djibouti, Proxygaz vous présente sa nouvelle bouteille de gaz, beaucoup plus pratique et économique par rapport à votre cuisinière traditionnelle. Vous gagnerez en moyenne 5 fois plus de temps. En plus, mesdames, elle ne laisse aucune trace sur vos ustensiles. Adieu la vaisselle tenace, adieu les mèches à changer, adieu les vapeurs de gaz toxiques. Optez pour la nouvelle bouteille 6 kg Proxygaz et en ce moment, nous vous offrons la grille en fer et le brûleur et le prix de la recharge passe de 3 000 francs Djibouti.